Hey everyone, Miss Say here. It feels like it's been a while since I've last made a video, mostly because I've just been away lately, hanging out in Monterey for Car Week, which is a week where a whole bunch of crazy cars show up for auctions, car shows, and a bunch of other things. Here's a couple pictures I took, at least of the ones I've edited so far. There's a lot more that I've taken but haven't gotten around to yet. But anyways, let's go ahead and go back to the video. So here I am in the Subaru WRX. Don't ask me why I was in this car, I just felt like going with it. So I'm going to go ahead and go against the meta, and I think we have an interesting race in our hands. Starting in second place, and we have Porsches behind and in front. So let's go ahead and see how this goes. First turn coming up, I'm going to go ahead and bring my fuel up to 2 because I'm not exactly sure how much fuel this car consumes. So I'm going to be short shifting and use fuel map 2 on the twisty bits, 1 on the straightaways. Since we are doing 11 laps on this track, the amount of fuel that we all want to use is 9%. I know we started the race off at 99%. Just revving the car going through the start line. So if I can get the car to 90% after this first lap, then I will be on track. Here I go a little wide, and already the Porsche behind is already on my tail, and I'm just trying to be really careful, trying to get used to this car. I know I used this car in an earlier race and it felt fine, but for some reason this car, it's just not really, I'm not really getting along with it, so I'm just trying to be a little more careful with it. Here we go. Go back to fuel map number 2, and on that turn to hairpin and one of the other turns which I'll highlight later, I tried to be really careful, especially with this car, as accelerating a little too early can really be punishing in this car. Not so much on the Porsche, at least in my opinion. But with this car, you just have to be a little smooth and the car will respect you. Fuel map down to 1 again as we're about to finish this lap. Cav Z already just over a second ahead of us, but at the same time, Z Crazy, he's a little bit over a second behind us. So we're kind of just stuck here in the middle of nowhere. But the thing that's going to be a little hard is that we are in a non-meta car. So this could mean that in the higher speed turns or in the long straights, the Porsches can really catch up to us and we will be in trouble before you even know it. But for now, we're just stuck in the middle of nowhere. So as long as it can stay like that for now, then I might, well, I'll be fine for now. But it's just that I want to catch up to first place. But it's going to be really hard if Cav Z is going to be getting some really awesome times. As you saw in the qualifying time, he was about half a second ahead of me, and that time I actually set it with the NSX. And with this car, I think it was about a 10th slower in the qualifying time trial. But that's something else to talk about for another day. The gap is increasing ahead and behind me. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, whether it's going to be a boring race or if I'm going to catch up to first place or if third place is going to catch up with me. But for now, let's just focus on fuel consumption. At this point, I'm already starting to forget how much fuel I need to have because apparently I can't take away 9 from 90. I should be at around 81% fuel as we're about to start the third lap. And actually, let's go ahead and see where we are. So we're at 83%. So yeah, so right now I'm doing good. And first place ends up getting a half-second penalty for going off track. But I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. He's already 2.3 seconds ahead of us with an awesome time of 147.2. I'm definitely not going to be able to get that in this kind of car. So I'm just going to go ahead and say first place is not attainable unless if he just screws up big time. But let's go ahead and fast forward this a bit just to get to some really good parts. But in the meantime, let's quickly talk about fuel consumption. I know for the C races and for some of the FI races, you really have to keep an eye on how much fuel you're consuming, because the more you can save, especially if it's one stop, then you can really come out ahead of your opponents depending on how fast your pace is. For no stop, which this race actually happens to be a no stop, you want to try to consume a certain amount of fuel. That way you can comfortably finish without running out of fuel. Okay, so we're skipping all the way to lap 6 because nothing happened in the other laps. But keep an eye on the time gap between me and Blue One, because somehow we had about a 2-second gap, or over a 1-second gap, excuse me. But suddenly he's going to make it all disappear like it's some crazy awesome magic trick. So from 1.4 already 1.1, and now we're down to 1 second, and he's just gaining on me super quickly. I think he's in the 911 RSR, so he's making the best use out of the car. We'll take a look at what car he's using, because I know at one point I looked back to see where he's at and what car he's using. So 7/10 of a second, he already gained 7/10 of a second within the last few turns, or even the sector, and it's going to get a bit pressuring for me, because now to be aware that this guy's behind me, he's going to try to overtake second, or my position, and I want to keep second place because I belong there for life. Alright, half a second, and this is where it's going to get really bad, because he's going to be right behind me. He's going to get a bunch of slipstream benefit. He's going to be going faster, save fuel, 0.3 of a second, and I'm going to go ahead and get a bit on the inside just so I can try to defend my position, because this position is mine. There are many other positions like it, but this one is mine. Alright, yep, he's in the 911 RSR, and he ends up getting a little friendly with me. He's going much faster than me. I'm just trying to keep an eye on how the car is doing, the fuel management, the tire management. So I'm really at a huge disadvantage. This guy is going to be hounding on me all race long, unless if I can somehow do something about it, go faster. But we're gonna go ahead and see. Oh wait, what happened over there? He unfortunately goes for spin class with the Porsche, ends up hitting a wall, and unfortunately dies. So again, that's the thing with that turn and the hairpin up ahead. I want to be really careful about how much I'm accelerating the car, because any tire spin could spell the end of it for me. So I'm going really careful through there, try not to die, and I should be alright. Even though Cav Z is now just under 6 seconds ahead of us, while Z Crazy, he's about 6 seconds behind us. But at the end, I mean, as long as I don't mess up, as long as I don't go too slow as well, then I should be fine, and I'll be perfectly happy with a second place finish. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and speed up the video, because I'm going to be honest, not much else happens over here. I managed to keep the gap about the same throughout the whole race, except for first place, in which he gains a better gap on me. But yeah, as I've mentioned, fuel saving in the C races, FI races, those are very important when trying to get the best out of a one stop, or trying to do a no stop. And yeah, in the end, I managed to keep a second place finish with the Subaru WRX. So even in a non-meta car, I can somehow do kind of fine. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, the Subaru was actually pretty fun to drive. I know I had a rocky start with it feeling a little understeery, but in the end I managed to get my groove on with it. And sometimes that's all you need to do. You just need to get your groove on with it, and you'll be good to go. And the other thing with using non-meta cars, I know some of the meta cars, like the R8 LMS, that car might be intimidating to use for some people, and for that case, I'm just gonna say use a car that you're comfortable with. I know, like the R8 LMS, I rarely use it just because it feels very twitchy to me, so I'll resort to, say, using the 911 RSR or the Supra just a car that you can feel comfortable with, that you know you can really push it to the limit, and you should be fine for the most part. I mean, if you're using the Viper, that's going to be a different story, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, so that's going to conclude the video. I kind of wanted to make this video short and sweet, and yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for the support, and we're gonna go back to the regular scheduled stuff. The Super race, the lap guide, I know I didn't make that because it was just crazy this past week, so sorry about that. The Nürburgring 24-hour guide for the Super Cup, that's been up for a while. I'm going to see if I can try to get a better time, and if I do, I'll probably make another guide for it, an updated version for it. And yeah, okay, that's enough of me talking. Have an awesome weekend, have an awesome week. This is Mr. MCA, the world's most okay player, and I'll see you in the next video.